Yes, bon après-midi and welcome back to eNCA. This is Sports on Today. South Africa's quest for a maiden women's Afcon title begins in less than 2 weeks. Banyana Banyana opened a tournament against old rivals Nigeria on the 4th of July, 2 days after the competition begins. Despite showing promise over the years, it's a trophy they are yet to lift. This year's bunch of players are confident they are the generation to finally do it. eNCA sports reporter Hloni Mtimkulu has been keeping a keen eye on the team this week before their departure to Morocco and joins us now. Very good afternoon, Hloni. Always great to chat football, especially women's football. The quest of Morocco has not been an easy one. Banyana Banyana lost against Morocco in the Afcon 2023. South Africa's Peter Musimani, when he was leading, Al Ahly lost against Wydad, and now it's time for the girls in less than 10 days to go. How do you see the ladies performing up north?
And let me tell you, should they get to the final, that venue, that Prince Mulai Abdullah Stadium in Rabat, is the venue for the final, so they'll be playing there as well. But I think it will depend on how they first of all fare in the group stages, right? They've drawn against Nigeria, Burundi and Botswana, and that is the group of death, I would say, given that the other groups are a little bit easier. Cameroon is in pool B, and their draws a little bit easier, so they could be a threat. And then there isn't a Ghana there isn't an Equatorial Guinea there that would have troubled them before. So I think if they can kind of ease their way in the group and then hopefully progress to the next round, there's a quarter-final stage now. So that should kind of help them there. I think what's been a problem and a concern for Coach Desiree Ellis in the past has been their goal-scoring form. And we saw them struggle earlier this year in friendlies against Zambia, and of course how they were beaten against the Netherlands as well. So the group they're in, and also just finding their goal-scoring form as well.
But then do we have enough firepower? There's been some notable exclusions from the squad. Is that a surprise to you?
So it's not a surprise, given that some of the notable exclusions would be Sundowns ladies players, including Andisiwe Mgoi, who was the joint top scorer in last year's league season. Puminyandeni also was joint top scorer with Andisiwe Mgoi, so they aren't in the squad, but they haven't featured in Coach Desiree Ellis's squad and plans for a while now. So not a surprise maybe, but questions were raised about that. She has changed her midfield formation quite a bit as well. So someone like Mamelo Makhabane, who was a stalwart for a while, she isn't there. But Coach Desiree Ellis, not Deborah Ellis, has explained that she wanted certain versatility in her team and wanted more options than what she had at the time. And the two players that she has omitted that we were talking about, she just said that they just weren't what she was looking for. But let's have a look at what she had to say about that.
The way you want to play, first of all, and then you look at players that fit into that. There's a lot of players out there, that could have made this squad. But we trust the players that we've selected. And I'm not saying there are not good players out there, but it's the way we want to play, how we want to play, and players that we feel will fit into that. And I can only select on what I see, but also how the players fit into the way we want to play, the different formations we want to play. And because of that, we needed a lot more versatility.
Wow, versatility, Hloni, as you did mention, that's one of the things that she's focusing on. She did speak also about players, but what we must also talk about is a major competition, the World Cup qualification. That's also on their minds. Will this be a reality for Banyana Banyana, and can they reach the pinnacle of football, being the World Cup?
So the fact that it's now a 12-team tournament, it's grown by 4 from 8-team tournaments in the past, where there were 2 groups and the top 2 from each would progress to the semi-finals. And then with the 2018 edition, just the top 3 then progressed to the 2019 World Cup. Now you have the situation where for the first time there is a quarter-finals in the at Afcon, the women's Afcon. So again, that tricky group that they're in. So if they don't progress as one of the top 2 finishers, they could progress as one of the top 2 best third-place finishers. But then that's tricky because you possibly get a Cameroon in the quarterfinal, for example, and then that's an immediate knockout. So they should get to the semi-finals at the least, which is what they need to qualify for next year's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. But it's how they're able to progress outside the group. And the problem is not just Nigeria, but Botswana has been a tricky side for them in the past. They missed out on qualification to the Tokyo Olympics because of Botswana, you know. So I know we always talk about Nigeria, but there's Nigeria, there's also Botswana, and depending on which team comes to play in those two matches, we will have to see what then happens in terms of progression to the quarters.
Hloni, it's interesting that you say that Botswana pose a threat. I mean, they're debutants in this competition. The Super Falcons are also a threat for Banyana Banyana. I'd love to know a big one. Exactly. I mean, they've also performed, or rather reached in the last 5 finals of the competition. But is it going to be difficult to open up against Nigeria, who are the current title holders?
I mean, they opened up against Nigeria in 2018 and they beat Nigeria then, you know, and that I think was that changed things for them. I think being able to beat Nigeria in the opening match of that tournament, and of course before then we'd never beaten Nigeria. It had always been like this difficult thing to do, and you know, we'd always thought, oh no, can we not do it or whatever, you know. I think we'd beaten them once before then, so you know, they were able to do that, and things changed. Unfortunately, we then lost to Nigeria in penalties in the final of that same tournament, but we beat Nigeria in the Aisha Buhari tournament earlier this year. But that wasn't their strongest side. You know, Nigeria's had issues as well in terms of getting themselves together, you know. So, you know, they're a problem, and, you know, there's concerns. But the team, Desiree Ellis' team is very confident now. And it's a pretty settled team. Some of those players, I think it's 11 of those players were playing in the 2018 edition of the tournament. 9 of them were playing in the 2016 edition of the tournament. A few of them then played years before that. So they've been together for a really long time. It's been a golden generation for a number of editions. So hopefully they'll be able to do it. They know Nigeria. You know, they're not a feared entity anymore. So I think they should be able to overcome them and hopefully do what they need to do to progress.
I was going to say, now, wow, if they know Nigeria so well, now, wow.
Why haven't they been able to do it all along, though? So.
All right, so obviously Banyana Banyana are looking to break new ground in Morocco, and we've seen Rivalry boldly running for the SAFA presidential seat. Is this a new dawn for women's football locally?
You know, Arthur, I'm going to say no. And I think, you know, in terms of the optics, yes, it's nice to kind of try and pin these two things together. But like the administration of football is one thing, and what happens with Banyana Banyana is a different thing. You know, if the two were kind of could be brought together, that's one thing. We'd kind of see changes over the years in how women's football has been run. But I think that Rivalry race to be SAFA president is a completely different thing, and what happens on the field of play is a different thing. You know, I don't think that even if, you know, whatever happens on Saturday, that it will speed up women's football.
Wow.
A lot needs to happen there. Teams need to come on board locally. Officials need to come on board. It's not just a one-person thing to do. So it's nice to kind of look at it that way, but I think realistically, not so much.
All right, last question. As I've run out of time, how do you think the girls are going to do?
I'm hoping that they will progress to the quarterfinals and then get to the semi-finals, and they have to win. They are talking about how it's been so long that they want to do it. They have all these international players now, so they have all this confidence, they have all this experience now. You know, they just have BMT as well, you know, so they should be able to turn things around when things get tough, because they are just a different bunch of players from 4 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago. So I am holding thumbs that they do, and at the least that they do qualify for next year's World Cup.
All right, Hloni Mtimkulu holding thumbs, of course, that Banyana Banyana make it to the World Cup, and of course as well the African Women's Cup of Nations. That was our reporter just giving us some insight regarding the competition that starts in 10 days' time. And yes, Bradan, I'm hoping that they win the competition and that SAFA President Danny O'Don will be able to give them more than 400,000 Rand per player. Back to you, Bradan.